say we need to take it a game at a time. What do you think needs to be the priorities for Axel or Koi when it goes into the start of this 3v3?
Well, the 3v3s, this is your fundamentals, right? This is where the competitive scene starts. And I know Axel, I've seen them in the bubble scene, these tournaments. I think the AAA Challenger Series even, and Taroko is a superstar. I'm always going to be biased for my Canadians, okay? I'm always going to cheer them on. You see where 3v3s bring you, and then whoever I think is on fire and is feeling themselves after that first game, that's who you send into either the 2v2s or the 1v1s, where obviously it's less pressure to go for those 2v2s right off the start. But these are two open qualifier teams, the bottom seeded ones who are the underdogs. And guess what? Yeah. Whoever feels good after this series gets to go up against complexity.
That is your reward. And listen, this is how sometimes North American Rocket League goes. Your reward is you play FaZe, you play Gen G, you play G2. Back in the day, 2 years ago, you played NRG. Like, that was your reward. But when it comes to this matchup specifically, that Koi get to this point, they lose to G2 3-0. You can't blame them. It was a pretty close game one. They gave G2 some problems in the threes, but it was atomic going up against in that 1v1 that really surprised me. Now, granted, Koi did have a substitute. They had Cosmic come in for ones as a ones main, which is one of the first times we've seen a team in the GWB tournament since last year really pull that off. But you're going up against the likes of Atomic on G2, so it didn't go their way. Regardless, though, you have options here. If you're Koi, I expect them to have a pretty fruitful series. For Axel, you have to think the defense has to be the state leader. I mean, you're looking at the likes of Torment, legendary player in the scene. Taroko's gotten so much better since his old Rogue days when we're looking at the likes of First Killer and Turo, how he stepped up in the midfield as the 2 option. And this is a team that can thrive in kind of the chaos and when the play breaks down. But Koi have a lot to prove. This new roster comes in, new organization. Excited to see what Gyro can do. We're at about a minute and a half so far here, 11 Kiwi. Nobody finding the opening goal just yet, but a lot of pressure on the orange side of the field as Koi are pressing.
I know that I was hearing that Koi have maybe the secret sauce for their one-on-ones if they do decide to go that direction, getting rank 1 in ones apparently. So I wonder if that's what they're going to opt for if they, of course, lose. It's the loser that picks that game mode. So for now, we almost are into the second half with a 0-0 score line. It's been a fast-paced game. Gimmick getting up off 1, trying to connect to Toasty. Gyro at least pinches it off the backboard. Cheese looking for the clear, and Team Axel have a chance to apply that pressure. Starting to fall back now that they're low on boost.
They're going to get Gimmick in the Dominus 99 times out of 99. You're just always going to see it. He's able to scoop and serve just there, pinching it down towards the opposite post, and uses the lower ground to wheel this one away through the corner. Trying to scream upfield as Gyro will win the challenge yet again. Another 50 win to Cheese. Fennec in hand, can't clear it back over on the opposite post, but off the top bar and cleared away. There's a wide shot there from Axel as Koi will now try to make their move, but interesting, looked like a double commit for the moment. Possession back to the team in orange. Axel trying to move their way out.
Still 0-0. This cuts to Toasty. We'll be able to clear it out. No, Sosa's able to pinch it off the wall, and Gyro, I mean, that ball came in quick. I don't blame him. How are you supposed to catch that one? And gets physically removed. So he's like, it's not my fault. I got demoed. As Team Axel, they'll have the 3 versus 2. Counterattack ensuing. Double commit from Koi. Sets it to the wall. Taroko with a chance to get a shot in, but pretty big wall in front of that blue net. There's still 90 seconds and no one has scored.
I mean, look, if you're kind of talking about the battle of the midweights, that's where we're at here. Looking at the top dogs in the likes of Complexity in V1 and V2. This is where everybody else tends to sit. You're not going to be getting these explosive openings in games that you might see off kickoff strats from Complexity or the sustained offense that you get from a G2 or V1 today. But in this instance, you are looking at 2 teams that are relatively even in terms of skill level, placements as well. Granted, a lot of roster changes have ensued. With a minute to go, we are wondering who's going to break the doors open, who's going to start things off, because it has just been trading possessions. We've had a bit of boom ball, but Cheese trying to work through the side wall, quickly cut down. Yet again, possession, back and forth we go. Nobody having a clear hold here in game 1, and we all know what's coming up next. Could be 1s, could be 2s. Whoever loses gets their choice. And with that, things could be very, very different, but you have the Vitality decal. I like it. Can you pull off a little bit of Zen magic? Doesn't look like it. And, well, we've gone back to the staple of game 1, just throwing the ball back downfield.
Team Axel just barely have any boost to work with. Gimmick has to go up high to protect the backboard. Still looking for the clear, though. And with the last 25 seconds, if Koi strike and find blood, then there's not going to be that much time for response. Seems like Koi, though, have loosened their grip. And it's this chaos in the midfield where Cheese leads the charge for Koi. Last 12 seconds left, and Team Axel redirected in, but Gyro was there just in case. But we go into OT shortly, and this is where all mistakes will be punished.
This one's dangerous a bit. Gotta look for a clear here. Already reading it, but you're gonna play it low to the dirt. Don't blame you. It's a nice decision there from Axel. They didn't like their chances on the counterattack, and well, it's been a stalemate in game one. Into OT we go. We'll see how this one plays out as Sosa will have to work through his own corner, evading pressure. And more numbers move up. Axel now pressing, and they'll fall back in rotation. And on that transition, we look at Cheese with a lot in the tank to open things up.
Oh, just that backboard well protected by Team Axel. I like the follow-up. You try to flick it out, didn't get enough power. This gives it over to Gyro. And Team Axel, don't let him use that space. As Koi, just wait and see how Team Axel are going to clear it, react, and counter when they have the chance to strike. And Koi move forward. Gyro's kind of bumped off that ball. Sosa's got two people on him. So it's hard for Koi to find that opening, and it might take some demos to clear some people out. And looks like Koi got removed. Team Axel can clear.
Very important clear at that. They were starting to get overwhelmed, but the pressure does subside. And the numbers at midfield, it's Taroko. Sometimes you see him on the Fennec. Now he's changed over to the Octane. Underrated striker. I've been a big fan of Taroko in his entire career. I think he got overlooked often because First Killer was kind of the main man on the team back with Rogue. But Taroko is a fantastic second man on any offense. Doesn't really get the love he deserves, but here we go. As he tries to move up, still wins it through the corner, looking for a center, but his teammate didn't want to overcommit on the play, and the rotation quickly falls back. The counterattack started for Koi. Didn't continue. Axel cut it away. Gyro, the longest standing member on this Koi/Rogue original roster. I think also a stat came out yesterday that he's one of the really the only players in North America to make most, if not all, the regionals. And that's a great shot from Sosa. I think he's Sosa right now. I think he's showing up to win this one.
Yeah, the A stands for A+. After the whole 5 minutes plus 90-second overtime, Koi breakthrough. And it's Sosa, your superstar, with a game-winning goal for Koi. Ooh. And it's a best of 5 in the lower bracket. It's do or die. And you got Complexity, the final boss, the gatekeepers of your semifinal to go deep. But hey, it's all for charity. And of course, the prize pool is huge no matter where you end up.
I like this trend we have going where Lemon Kiwi has seen some players and been casting over some players here, and all of a sudden they're stepping up today. I don't know what's going on. Like we got Sosa just ending it with a dagger, like the best shot we've had in game one after 7 minutes, and it was Sosa just from the mid range. Okay, so I'm gonna be coming to you, Nostradamus, for more predictions here in this series, because so far it was a pretty one-sided affair in that OT, but it was 6.5 minutes of just relentless boom ball. And look, if you get caught in the monotonous grind, it's tough to break out of, but what I really liked there was really just the confidence and the patience from Sosa and Cheese and Gyro, the whole crew of Koi, keeping themselves composed. Of course, their coach still corrupted G. Shout out to him, one of the legends of the scene. And of course, working with Gyro and the new squad to get them up to speed. But they take the first game here in GWB, got swept by G2. Now they find themselves on the board, but it's a long series coming up. I could not tell you what we're going to get, Lemon Kiwi. I don't know if we're getting ones or twos. I would think you go twos, given how Cosmic struggled against Atomic in the ones the last time around. Give him some time to breathe and work into the system. But I don't know. What are you thinking? You've been so honest.
I go twos.
Okay.
So if I lose, it's not just my fault. It's not just my fault if we lose. At least that's what I would stress. That's too much pressure for me, but that's why I'm in the casting booth where, the 6-digit prize pool is not on my shoulders, but
limit the responsibility. That's what we're going to do.
Exactly. Someone has to lose with me at the end of the day. So 2v2s chosen by Team Axel, which I gotta say their defense is what I love the most in threes, but it's the counterattacks that I felt didn't spark up too much. It took a few demos onto Koi for Team Axel to find the space, and hey, both defenses happened great, hence why we had a 0-0 OT.
That is so true. I mean, the defenses have stood the test of time. The offenses weren't entirely next level, not ultra-dimensional that we've seen from the best of the best, but you're not expecting that going into this series. You just need clean Rocket League. And oftentimes when you fall back on those fundamentals, that's where you find yourself being able to withstand long stretches of nothing happening, and you can pull yourself through a tournament when you can rely on those cadences. But Gyro, as we've known for many, many years, is an explosive player when he feels comfortable. One of the biggest questions is always, does he feel comfortable? Does he feel like he can contribute in a competent way? If the answer is yes, you're going to get the best from him. If the answer is no, he can make some mistakes. But so far in the series, it's been only one game. Sample size is small. He's been playing just fine as Taroko tried to win the 50, but left it in the front of the box, quickly denied. And we'll move back out to the midfield as Team Axel will try to make their mark.
How do you make that mark, though? Gyro protects their backside, sends it right down. Koi looking like they're approaching, feeling like Team Axel don't have a good handle on this. They challenged, pops real deep. Team Axel following up, Cheese closing the right side, following up to also clear it out. As this has got lost in the sauce, Cheese just has to center it out. Goes up the wall, Gyro waits for how Taroka's gonna clear this, reacts, puts it to the corner. Toasty trying to block the right side. It's a 2-on-1, and Koi find the back of the net.
Ooh, I like what I'm seeing. I like the enforcer role here. Gyro keeps it close chest, plays it all the way around, and gets the bomb and leaves it for Cheese to finish the deal. That's a Gyro special. I'm just telling you right now, folks. Listen, when we talk about Koi, that is a Gyro special. When Taroko was on this team, that's what they would do together. When Aqua was on this team, that's what they would do together. That is what we like to see. If you're a Koi fan, you're feeling very, very happy about that goal. And you love how this twos is working out so far. Granted, we burned a bit of time. Already about a minute 45. That's math. We're going to math it. And it's been all of Koi to start. The pressure's been there. Gyro with a full tank. Cheese gets a full grab. And with that, they're going to bully their way through the defensive end and make it difficult for the offense to open up for Axel.
I want Cheese and Toasty to be on the same team so they could be like the British grilled cheese. I found out what that was the other day as Gyro finds out has a score with how fast that damn ball was going all the way past everyone from Team Axel and at the back.
I do like the idea of Toasty and Cheese being on the same team. I didn't put together the additive of the British version of grilled cheese or the European version, but I was like Toasty and Cheese. I mean, they have to go together. That's great. That's great. I like that idea. I also like the 2-0 lead that Koi have working for them. They took game one in OT thanks to what Sosa was able to put up on the field. You got Gyro and Cheese working. We expected the twos to have Gyro in rotation. It's so far that's been exactly what's happened, but they have built upon their lead. It's a 2-goal deficit. Team Axel trying to work some magic through the corner, but they got 1v2'd and Cheese hits the musty, but it's quickly blocked out and saved towards the corner. To the midfield we go. Things seem to start slowing down for the moment. Not a lot of aggression and not a lot of pacing as Taroko just squeezes that, pinches it off the back wall.
And that's off the pass from Toasty back to Taroko. The synergy, the second touch, to angle that towards the net. And I like the attempt from Koi to challenge. We go into the second half with signs of life from Team Axel. As I was worried that was getting out of hand when Team Koi win the OT. They start the game off 2-0. Was this going to be just a sweep? But Team Axel, they know how to score. They've just shown us.
Hey, maybe it takes a quick counterattack. Maybe that is what is required. But so far, the defense has struggled to find those clears. Gyro, I think, missed a touch, which leads way to what Toasty's about to do. Gets the corner as well. Takes everything out for Koi to work with. Taroko nicely done, playing patiently and just guiding the ball towards his front hood. We'll play it back. Toasty gives it right back, and here comes Taroko. He's not going to be pushed up often. If you're playing twos and Taroko's on the field, he will be the last one back, so be careful in the overextension if you're Axel. As Toasty from the ceiling can't find the pinch, but I like the idea.
Oh, jeez. It's like, Taroko ain't got this. I got this. I'm too slow. But 1 minute left. It's a scramble. It feels like just as chaotic as how the game one went, of both teams just salvaging on their defense and looking for space, but the counterattacks, well defended. Time for Koi to rotate back. They don't seem too bad. Toasty has to go through two people. Taroko helps him shove through, but Cheese receiving this bounce redirects it right to the lap of Toasty.
30 and some odd change on the clock. Here we go. What do you have in the tank, Axel? You got one good press upfield. Taroko was able to pinch it and squeeze it for a 2-1 goal. I don't know if it's deficit lead. I don't even know if it's an equal. It's not. We're just going to leave it as they're down, and they're down by 1. Here goes Taroko.
Down bad.
They're down horrendous. But can they turn the toss? Taroko leaves it. Did all he could. There's the bump, but it's a self-bump. Gyro got to be careful. Cheese. Can't catch him overextending. Taroko, the midfield. He's got to play this on his own. Make it a ones game if you have to. Cheese gives it back. Toasty catching. You got full boost here for Taroko. And that clear is deadly, and that bump's even worse. That is a 2-0 series lead. And my oh my, Koi are making very quick work all of a sudden out of Axel. I did not expect it to be maybe this one-sided in twos. It was only a 2-1 game, but they're up 2-0, and we got threes coming up. Lemon, I don't know what's going on. What's happening?
Are we going to see the 0-0 OT with minutes gone by? I mean, Koi won the threes. They won the twos. Going back to threes, that's where my prediction's going. So has been on fire, got that game-winning goal in game one. So depending on him once again, I mean, I'm not like overly impressed by either team. I think Koi have been having more chances to punish Team Axel's rotations, and it's only 1 or 2 goal difference that we're seeing, right? Usually only by 1. Team Axel were able to come back kind of halfway through that game and make it competitive, but that was their only goal this whole series.
And that's the thing. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It's been a 1 goal difference for these games. Granted, the OT went a minute or 2, but it was close, relatively speaking, until Sosa really ended that one. And after the 2-0 lead, I mean, we saw a resurgence for the moment. It was 1 or 2 good drives from Axel to make it a 2-1 game, but it's been a 1 goal affair for the majority of this series. Only 2 games, but could this end in a sweep? It very well could, with the way Koi are playing, with how poised they look. No matter what Axel's been throwing at them, Koi have had an answer. Whether or not it's been a super impressive answer, it doesn't really matter. Just face the challenge that's in front of you, and Koi certainly have. As so far, Gyro is doing Gyro things off the kickoff, and it's been all of the pressure from the boys in blue to start this one off.
Oh, Sosa! Oh, to Gyro, the pass was almost so beautiful. Taroko got there first. Oh, geez, not tall enough for this ride. Taroko on a wild adventure. Just dumps into the corner, pushes Sosa out, makes the space for Gimmick, and the red carpet is there for Team Axel.
And that's the gimmick we're looking for. Like, this is the gimmick we're used to. Where has this man been this series? The dominance comes into full effect. Clears house to get bodied. And there we go. He shows up. You got Toasty in the back wing. 1-0 lead. Axel, for the first time in the series, will have a lead in the game.
It looks like Koi with at least some kickoff edge here. Sosa to the sky. Right down to Cheese, who redirects it a bit higher than the defender. Not what Team Axel were expecting.
That was 111 kilometers per hour. I need to see this replay. Gets the pass, and Cheese. Perfect timing on the reset. Or the flip, whatever you want to call it in that moment. Burns the defender. I mean, that's just the depth of field is way too quick for how you're going to read that. Nice play by Koi to get themselves back involved. The equalizer comes in with about 4:15 to play. And Gyro is not done yet. Here he comes, winning another possession, flying forward, has the Fennec to boot, and they'll kick this towards the backboard.
Yeah, Gyro, all right to Gimmick, but Cheese was ready. Actually, it pops over him. I thought Koi could keep the rally going. At least they have midfield position. Sosa in the box, tips it back to the right post, though, too wide. Cheese, not the janitor on duty to clean that up, and Team Axel struggling to get out of their own end.
And that shot really just forces the save. It forces the commit on defense, and that allows Gyro or anybody else in rotation for Koi to get made for the boost. So if you lose the angle, you immediately have somebody else up to follow. It's a force on Axel, but they have no choice, and the long clear favors Koi. So with that, you're wondering, okay, what else do we have in store for Axel to clear their own defensive side of the field, get back to that 50-yard line, because they are struggling to hold on after that midfield touch. Gimmick on the long touch all the way to the backboard. This should be saved and brought back down as Cheese will have more than enough in his comms to eventually create this counterattack. Koi kind of playing with their food here, and they have all the opportunities in the world to put another one on the board.
It's match point for Koi, so Team Axel got to throw everything at this game and just can't seem to maintain that presence on the blue side as Koi crack through. Cheese leads that, doesn't have a lot of boost, bounces over to the midfield, pass by Gyro, but to the crossbar. And Team Axel, I mean, this ball has a lot of power, so Team Axel can work with this while Koi rotate back. But just, I feel like Team Axel are so charitable today, giving the ball over to Koi so much.
We're watching Cheese, musty pass to the backboard, following back in transition, grabbing the rebound, getting boost, going back up midfield, and setting up his teammates. I mean, he's doing everything you want. And Gyro's going to double tap from the sky to make it a 2-1 game. This was all set up for the past minute and a half by Cheese. And Gyro closes the deal on this one. This is just perfect Rocket League out of Koi.
2-1. Perfect-ish. I mean, I'd be nervous only being up by 1. Team Axel, though, that's their high score in this series, is 1 goal. So I'm waiting. See if they can beat just that. Gimmick. I mean, it feels like Team Axel have had the opportunities on offense. It's just the accuracy not always there to get that second, maybe third goal.
Ooh.
The redirects from Koi are so nasty, though. Here's Gyro up to the sky, over to Cheese, and almost to the back of the net.
Gimmick's doing all he can. A defensive mastermind in Gimmick. Same with the likes of his old teammate Torment, but Sosa from the side wall has been a problem all series. He was at the midfield in game 1, and now he pulls up from the opposite corner. I mean, this is just a beautiful recovery back on the ball. A double commit from Team Axel, but at that point, they're done. There's no way to save this. So much space for Sosa. The biggest lead we've had so far. It's a 2-goal deficit. Team Axel trying to find something, but Koi have everything they need.
Koi look comfortable. The passes are going well. They have the freedom on the ball. They have more possession too. Team Axel, yeah, they go for touches. They go for challenges. And then just unfortunate for them that the accuracy sends the ball too wide. And that must be frustrating. You have that to deal with. Your own weaknesses, along with the fact that Koi are on match points, the lower bracket, and it's getting real close to being a 4-1. Here's the counterattack that ensues for Team Axel. Up in the air is the ghost of Toasty. Gimmick wanted that ball, but Gyro got in the way.
Is this the handoff? No, we're taking it ourselves. We're taking it ourselves, Gyro. He's officially crowned himself as Gyro. He's back. We've seen it from years past. When he starts popping off like this, he gets the U. See you later. That's Gyro. He's here. 4-1. He called game. I don't blame him. And Koi, look, it's cardinal sin. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm calling it. With the way this one's gone, I'm sorry. I've seen enough. I know what Gyro can do. Gyro at this point. Axel have thrown everything they have offensively. Creativity hasn't really been there. It hasn't been their strong suit. But they're getting outplayed. Defensive end, transitions, counterattacks, midfield grabs, the infield passing. Everybody's shaking and high-fiving at midfield. Koi are just having their way in this series, and this game 3 is no different.
This feels like Team Axel are just that confidence-based team that once that started to fall, when you're down 0-2, even down 0-1, the fact that you were stretched to the limit in that OT, and it doesn't go your way. You're mad at Sosa for ending the pizza party early. Team Axel just didn't know how to come back. And yeah, you have some good defensive stops. And Gimmick, I think, has been a huge part of that spark plug for the offensive Team Axel. But in terms of execution, it's not always there. And when you're only down by 1 and you're like, wow, if only I would have just played better, then this would have been a tie game. Team Axel maybe would have even won a game or 2. But Koi got comfortable. Their mechanics improved in the last couple of seconds. Team Axel ain't beating that 1-goal high score, it looks like.
I don't often get things right. It's actually my favorite thing is usually just getting predictions wrong. But I did come in saying if Gyro shows up and he feels confident, they're going to call game and they're going to have their way. And all of a sudden, Gyro starts looking confident. You see him moving upfield with possession, basically just playing ISO. And in a 1v1, when Gyro has the Fennec, he's going to put it over you and he's going to dunk you through. So it was one of those situations where really it came down to essentially you have a 1-goal deficit if you're Team Axel. And can you tie the game up? Can you tie the game up in the 1s, the 2s, the 3s? It didn't happen. We didn't see it even get to a game 4. But in game 1, it was really all of Koi in the end. When the last minute or so before OT